Namaste yogis and lovers of wellness, and welcome back to the Yogi Blair YouTube channel. Today I am doing a rehaul of my skincare series. Last year in the summertime I uploaded a skincare series talking about my entire journey and what I've been through as far as my skin goes. And now that I have my setup how I want it, and I have my new iPhone with the good quality camera and a ring light and everything going on, I kind of just wanted to redo it for you guys and kind of reduce it down, make it more simple and easier to follow. But before we get into that, if you are new to my channel, I want to say hello. My name is Vanessa Blair Ferris. I'm a certified registered yoga instructor with a passion for sharing yoga and wellness with anybody that needs it, but especially those that are healing from trauma. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please consider subscribing, following me on Instagram, TikTok. It's all linked below. You can email me with the email address linked below. You can send requests, questions about what I've been through as far as my skincare, questions about yoga and wellness, or anything below. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into today's video. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the very beginning, what my skin was like when I was younger, and just everything that led up to what I'll be talking about in later videos. This is kind of similar to how I started my skincare series before, and just giving you a little bit of background information. And I won't talk as long as I did in the first episode that I did of this. I have had issues with my skin since I was about 7 years old. And I know I said in my last series, and I'll say it again, the very first recollection, the first memory that I have of knowing that my skin was different from anybody else's was between the first and third grade. I don't remember which grade I was in, probably second. So that's probably about age 6 or 7. I remember a kid coming up to me in school and asking what was all over my face. And it wasn't a malicious thing that he meant to say. Kids are curious and they ask questions, and he did not mean to hurt my feelings, but I will never ever forget that experience. I was, in the second grade, and it's still, I think about it to this day from time to time. And ever since then, I've struggled with my skin up until this last year of my life. And even then, there are still some struggles. In this series, my goal is to not wear makeup. And I want to show you what my skin looks like. I try not to have the beauty functions on my camera so that you can see what my skin is and how it looks day to day. And some days it's better, some days it's worse. There's a lot going on with my skin now. And when I was little, I believe that I was diagnosed with rosacea at the age of 6 or 7. My mother actually did take me to a dermatologist or a doctor, and he said that then I did have rosacea. My rosacea, while I do get pink and I do get flushed, I also get little bumps that look like acne. And so I thought that I had acne from the time I was 7. I got acne probably earlier than most people in life, probably around the age of 9 or 10. But that rosacea was kind of there, and it kind of went away when I started getting acne, or maybe my acne was just what I noticed more because I dealt with cystic acne. But from the time I was 7, I remember that my mom would kind of always talk to me about my skin and tell me, like, if people are mean to you because of it, just know that, it's okay. And she would always try to make me feel better about it. And she was always actively trying to do things for my skin to help it. Now, my mom was a very young mother, and it was the 90s when I was dealing with these issues. And we all know that a lot of things as far as skincare and makeup weren't so great in the 90s, right? We had no eyebrows, our foundation didn't match, and there were a lot of misconceptions about skincare as well. And my mother did her best, and she was an amazing mom, but there were a lot of misconceptions about what I needed to do for my skin. I remember when I was younger, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, she would give me that Neutrogena clear bar soap to use on my face. And, there were no moisturizers, there were no toners. Not that you necessarily that's what you're thinking about when you're in the 3rd grade, but it was probably overstripping and making my rosacea and acne worse. When I started dealing with acne, because I hit puberty at the age of 10. So when I started dealing with hormones and cystic acne and everything like that, she would get, she tried the Proactive, she tried the Neutrogena lines, she tried those benzoyl peroxide masks that smelled like menthol. She would actually sit me in her lap and pick out my blackheads from time to time. Like, I remember when I was young, girls would complain about when their moms brushed their hair or braided their hair. For me, it was when my mom picked my face. Hairbrushing, even though I have wild hair, paled in comparison to when my mother would be like, well, let me get your blackheads, because it felt like hours of me laying in her lap with her using her fingernails to dig into my skin. And again, she didn't know better. She thought that that would help my skin not produce pimples, and it probably made it worse in the long run, but we all learned. So then my teenage years came about, early 2000s, still had bad makeup, still had thin eyebrows, and I was dealing with cystic acne. My rosacea didn't seem to bother me nearly as much, but again, I think the reason behind that was probably because I had these giant cysts on my face. And I struggled with that until the age of 26. And even in my early 20s, I tried the knockoff Proactive from Walmart, and which came with a moisturizer, but we know that Proactive moisturizers did not moisturize your skin whatsoever. Way overstripping. The toners were way too astringenty and alcohol-based, and I didn't have a good skincare routine. It wasn't until I started working in salons that I tried anything different. And not even when I worked in the first salon, because even then I was too scared to try better skincare that was not necessarily geared towards acne, but geared towards healthy skin. It was probably around the age of 24, 25 that I finally started to get into a less harsh skincare routine. And even then, my cystic acne did not go away. I dealt with cystic acne so it probably started around the age of 10. So I dealt with it for 16 years, and I dealt with skin issues for 20 years, maybe even more, maybe even closer to 21 years. It was a very long process of always feeling like I didn't belong, and always knowing that my skin didn't look like other people's, and always feeling like I was uglier than everybody else because I had red skin, or I had these giant cysts on my face that didn't go away for, I'm not exaggerating, a month or 2 at a time. And I did my best to never pick at anything. I tried to let it go its course, because I knew that especially with cysts, it only made it worse. And it was just a really difficult experience. I remember being 26, 27 and looking in the mirror and crying at my skin, because it was just not what I wanted it to be. And I thought that, everybody tells you when you're a teenager that, oh, don't worry, your skin will get better. Or when you're 20, you'll look back at this and laugh. And for me, it wasn't the case. And I almost felt betrayed, not by people for telling me that, but by my skin. I felt like this isn't how it was supposed to be. I was supposed to be pretty by now. I was supposed to have my glow up by now. And I was supposed to have controlled my wild hair and gotten good skin and regrew my eyebrows and fixed my teeth and learned how to love my face. And it still wasn't the case. And it just devastated me. So that is most of the background information. I always felt different, and I always felt like I was ugly, and it was a huge, huge part in growing up that led me to not be confident at all, and probably was a precursor for a lot of other things that would eventually happen that I would go through because of lacking that confidence and always feeling different and always feeling like people were looking at me. I couldn't go outside without makeup. I couldn't run to the grocery store for my parents at the age of 16 or 17 or 18 because I felt like everybody would look at me and judge me. So that's really all I wanted to cover in today's video. I want to make these quicker. I wanted to give you the background information. At around 7 years of age, diagnosed with rosacea, dealt with cystic acne and other forms of acne for 20 years, and it was a very challenging time in my life. Next time, in the next episode, I'm going to go over more of the treatments that led up to me going on Accutane eventually. And then we'll discuss Accutane, and then we'll talk about where I am now. So if you have any questions or anything that you would like me to cover in the following episodes, because they're not recorded yet, please feel free to leave questions below. I am happy to answer those and address concerns in the following episodes. I really want to make this something that is informational to you, but also to show you that you're not alone. Skin can be really difficult, and people that don't struggle with skincare concerns just don't get it. And it's okay to feel like your world is ending because your skin is giving you problems. It's hard. It's not easy because this is what everybody sees. You can cover up other things, but this is really hard to not show the world. And if you're not confident with it, it is a struggle. And I am here to show you the ways that I kind of got past it, the ways that I helped my skin, and the things that I've had to accept may never change. And we're gonna go over that next time. And please leave any comments below with any questions that you want me to address. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel. It really means the world to me. So I will see you next time. I hope you live happy, live free, live well. Namaste.